Hello, everybody. My daily workspace is where destruction is part of daily life. This is me working in Syria, Aleppo, where a bomb has just fallen in the middle of the downtown area. But as always, normal life continues, like this father with his little child in Kabul. And this little handicapped guy who was shot by a sniper in Aleppo, you see the little wound in his arm, and of course, this little boy, also in Aleppo, was shot also. But things always end up in a hard way, and the last thing you see is a mother, like tears, with tears. Last year, July, I got a phone call from a client who said, George, do you want to come to the Ukraine because an airplane has crashed? It was the MH17 crash. Of course I said yes, because that's my job, so I went. But before I went, I checked my Facebook account and I saw a little message which said, Rijn, where are you? And I thought, what's that for strange message? And then I realized that it was my old babysit boy, Rijn, who was on that plane. I will explain to you who Rijn was. When I was 19 years old and Rijn was about the age of 8 years and his little sister about 7, 6, I used to babysit on them every Monday evening, and he was living in my neighborhood, so it was my babysit boy. So the next day I went off to the Ukraine and to film the crash of the MH17. It was a strange feeling, because arriving at the scene where the plane had crashed, I realized that, of course, Rijn was on that plane and he was killed together with his girlfriend, Desiree. So I arrived at the crash site doing my work, reporting about what had happened, but also knowing that the relatives of Rijn, his mother, his father, his sister, weren't able to visit the crash site. The same for all the other people who had lost their relatives in the war zone, which Ukraine still is. So for me, it was the first time that my private life and my working life got interacted. So it was like almost surreal feeling, walking on a crash site and thinking, okay, this is the spot where Rijn is killed with his girlfriend, Desiree. A surreal feeling. So what could I do, knowing that his mother in Holland is in tears because her son Rijn was killed in Ukraine? The first thing I noticed when I arrived in Ukraine, I saw were fields of sunflowers. And in the middle of those sunflowers, the plane had crashed. So I thought, what can I do? I thought, I will cut the flowers and bring them home for his mother. So me and my colleague Rudy Bauma, who was the reporter, we started cutting flowers to bring them home for his mother and his family. What could we do with all those flowers? Bringing back dead flowers to the Netherlands was like, there's so much death already. Why should I bring death, flowers who are dying back home? So then I realized I knew a Dutch artist, Bas Meeuws, who makes artwork with flowers. And I called him, I said, Bas, can you help me? Because this is the story. The mother of Rijn is in the Netherlands, and I want to bring her the flowers, but I don't want to bring the dead flowers. He said, bring them over to me, and I will start working on it. So we took the flowers to the hotel to put them in a box, and that's the way we kept them alive during our period working in Ukraine. So we took the flowers back home, and Bas started working on the flowers, and it took about 3 months when Bas completed his work, and he started making pictures of every flower individual. So these are the flowers who were the eyewitnesses of the disaster of the MH17. They stood there and watched it. So my work is filming daily the black side of life in the world. So what could I do? Besides the fact that Bas was taking the pictures of the flowers, the Dutch relief organization for family members of the killed people in the plane, they noticed our story and they called us and they said, what can we do for you, Joris? I said, help us trying to put the artwork all over the world so every relative of people killed in the airplane can have the artwork. Okay, we will do that, George, so that's okay. So Bas finished the work. So what could I do working in a war zone besides reporting and bringing back home for the mother of Ryan and all the other relatives in the world was this. So what could I do? I did what I could. And that's the artwork which all the relatives of the MH17 received all over the world with the flowers of the crash site of the MH17. That's it.